And faith basically is a multifaceted concept. And that definition varies all over the place, depending on who you are and where you are, your philosophical and personal context. But generally, it's that strong belief or trust and confidence of something or someone, often transcending outside of ourselves or within ourselves, that is in a higher place. The Buddhist traditions, faith is that starting point for everything. So faith isn't just something we grasp onto, but when we recognize faith, the Buddhists say that's when you start your spiritual path. It's seen as that initial inspiration, that wake-up point, that motivation that you go out and explore whatever it is you're exploring and engaging in. In Christianity, faith is often defined as trust in the confidence of Christ, in God, in the teachings, that existence of divine promise and wisdom, and trust in some type of universal plan. Spiritualist views faith as a spiritual truth and a progress of unfolding. Revelations emerging over time, and that everything is an ongoing exploration, discovery of spiritual truths, and expansion of our human consciousness. In the esoteric teachings, faith involves trusting in that alchemical process of that inner evolution. In unity, we take all of them and mush them together. And we say it's all of the above. It's a transformative force that connects the individual to their highest potential and to the divine source of all life. And it's through faith that individuals experience a spiritual awakening, an inner peace, and a fulfillment. Ken Wilber says that faith as a component of spiritual intelligence involves the integration of our spiritual insight with cognitive and emotional intelligence. He says it's necessary to keep striving to mature our understanding, to help healing. So in the end, faith is part of our healing process. It allows for that connection and integration of our understanding of everything, including what we need for both our human and our spiritual well-being. A lot of times people recognize some kind of mystical experience as their faith moment. I have had some kind of connection or awareness for as long as I can remember. Yeah, there's been like these extra moments, but I think faith for me has changed over time, which is what I think the unity teaching says when you got to mush them all together. You got to allow it to change over time. In your vocabulary, willingness to take on experiences, knowing that with practice, perseverance, learning, integrity, and listening, that the way we recognize our faith grows, hopefully grows, as the years progress. And it's that link and connection to all other things. I know when a long time ago, I was probably, 18, there was a concert out in the middle of Pennsylvania. I think it was called Creation Concert, where there was a bunch of Christian singers, all different genres, and you would camp out at this place. So there's, you know, and most of the people there were between 17 and 22 camping. So imagine that setting on a big field, hundreds of college kids camping out in tents. And that was some of the most like connection to energy faith experience that I first was real tangible about. Because you get that many people in one place at that time and then put on some rock music on top of it. and you got it all stirring up. That weekend, it poured. So I'm again, 17 to 22-year-olds all intense. And it's pouring. In fact, there's a photo of me and a friend of mine who's much taller than me, and I'm in the puddle up to my waist. I mean, that's how much water there was in this place. And my edge of the tent was totally soaked. My sleeping bag, all my clothes, everything, except the little paperback Bible I had taken with me that was shoved under everything. Now imagine being in a group of born-again Christians and your Bible's the only thing that comes out dry. You know, the recognition of whatever it was in that moment. And I'm not sure I carried that. What does that mean the whole way through? Now, it could mean there was some kind of weird pocket of air around it and it just happened to be dry, right? And yet it could all, and I still have that Bible today. It's all a mess, but I still have it. Or does it mean that things are allowed to change? Because again, I still have it, but it's a mess. And you guys know how much I do or don't delve into the Bible sometimes, my love-hate relationship with those writings. And yet there was something there that says, you better pay attention. I think that's what faith is. It's pay attention. And then everybody around me took that on as something just a little different. It's also the patience in reaching where you were going, just like that video said, it's not the journey. It's not what am I happening when I get there. It's enjoying the moment of whatever's happening while we're there, right? To recognize that it is a dance. To integrate all those crazy moments that we don't understand, or when we trip, or when somebody else bangs into us on the dance floor, and know that the music is still going and you can still have fun. Or there's still someplace else to move around. Our life changes so many times, just like the dance. I mean, I thought I was arriving lots of times. I thought when I was in 7th grade, I was going to be a teacher. I ended up not getting teaching credentials until I was 30. Yay, I finally made it. And then I chose to, after 10 years, stay home with my kids because of something else that happened on my dance floor. When their dad passed, I was like, well, okay, no more teaching for now. I'm going to stay home. Okay, I guess I made it. Maybe I'm a stay-at-home mom. Well, that doesn't work well for me. I got to keep working. So I went back to school again. Oh, when I get this part done, I'll have arrived. And now we all know I'm back to school again. Maybe I'll arrive in another couple years when that system's done. I don't know. Do we have to arrive, or can we keep moving? My kids have been asked by their high school 500 times now, what is it that you want to do when you leave high school? And neither one of them have a clue. And I'm like, that's okay, because look at how many times and how many dance partners I've had walking around my own dance floor. Or how many times the music has changed. But once you stop resisting that and simply trust that process, once you follow the faith, it works. It just works. So for me, faith, if you can imagine, faith is kind of like an analogy. You know how you have a prism and the light hits the prism and then you end up with all the colors? Well, faith is that light that hits the prism. Because without that, it's really hard to see the rest of the colors. And that prism is you. It's you and how you're connecting with them. Charles Fillmore refers to faith as an active, creative force with transformative potential. It involves affirmations of spiritual truths, alignment with divine principles, and the practical application of beliefs in everyday life. He says it's dynamic and empowering. It doesn't stay still. It's not just a starting place or an ending place. It's the whole thing. So there's some ways that we can do that for ourselves. We can trust in the process, mutual support of nature and other people. Faith is offering empathy and understanding of perspective, sometimes that are not our own. Just like that story I gave you about the Bible. Everybody was telling me what it meant, right? Now I kind of laugh because I'm like, it was probably just wrapped in something really good. And yet everybody had an idea. One of them I remember, because I had to hang up all my clothes, was like, well, you're being told that that's the only thing that you ever need is that Bible, because all your clothes are destroyed. I'm like, yeah, if you want to think of it that way, God destroyed my clothes so that I would just look at my Bible. I said, it doesn't matter, because if that works for somebody, take it. Totally take it. Meditation, prayer, affirmations, silence. We're going to have a silent day here, March 28th, 9 to 4, silent retreat. Think about it. Different rituals, practicing, exploring ways to merge our human experience with our spirit selves. Practicing kindness, compassion, caring, healing, forgiveness. Finding your own meaning and purpose. Faith offers a greater understanding of striving for a purpose. It's that connection that we understand in each person. It's the expression of your own unique take of faith. You could seek guidance to encourage your faith, readings and teachings, wisdom, your daily word, reading, just talking to each other, and staying open to what your own body and your own mind and your own heart and your own instincts are telling you about your universe. It's participating in places like this, in your communities, being supportive part of wherever it is you're being led to. Opportunities for service and growth. And also, faith helps individuals maintain hope and resilience in the face of all the things that can happen. So faith is not necessarily, or not only, about turning water into wine, or healing the sick, or the blind regaining sight. It's about waking up from a vague, uneasy, neurotic sleep of ego to clear the luminous light of self. That's a quote from Ken Wilber. Eric Butterworth says faith is not a belief. Faith is what's left when your beliefs have all blown to hell. Faith is not a passive state of mind, it's a driving force. It is not something to take refuge in. It's something that you really bet your life on. What we perceive to be reality is the result of several factors. One of these factors is our human physiology. Our physical characteristics are largely the result of our biological evolution. And physical characteristics, our sense organs, our brain, cause us to perceive the external world as it appears to us. According to Carl Jung, we have a certain innate mental characteristics that affect our perception of reality. He called these archetypes. Archetypes influence the way we perceive and interpret and experience our lives. Which particular archetype may influence and how they influence us are the result of all kinds of things. Our stage of life is one factor. Our culture, our particular era of human history. We also know that our personal histories affect perceptions of reality. Characteristics of our families or origins strongly impact the way we see ourselves and the world. And certain life experiences, especially if they're intense or traumatic, may also impact the way we see certain people or certain circumstances. Faith is the power to create our reality by our perceptions, our beliefs, our interpretations. Seeing is believing, and yet believing is seeing. According to our faith, our world reveals itself to us and becomes real. Part of that was excerpted from the Quest for Wholeness. In Matthew 21:21, Jesus says, "Truly I tell you, if you have faith and do not doubt, not only can you do what was done to the fig tree, but you can say to this mountain, go throw yourself into the sea, and it will be done." That mountain is anything we feel that is blocking us from ourselves, our connection, our healing, our understanding. That sea allows the emotions, the feeling, the intuitions, the faith of our connection to allow us to let go of what we need to let go of, even something seemingly as big as a mountain.